Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. As of right now, got about 27 days until Texas football kicks off against Louisiana Monroe. Really excited for this season. Us as Texas fans, Sark in year two, a lot to discuss. Gonna have so much preseason content coming really over the next 3 weeks. You guys are going to be really excited to see it. There's a few think pieces or more so just topics I want to hammer out before we get into our traditional, Longhorn 10 for 10 series and top five breakout players, things of that sort. And one of them has come up is really on the heels of Arch Manning's commitment to the University of Texas. And now that it's been some time, one of the biggest areas of feedback and comments from Texas fans has been, what about Malik Murphy? Where does Malik Murphy factor into this? So I want to talk about what his future looks like here at Texas, especially now that fall camp has started and we have real feedback to discuss in regards to Malik. Now, while you guys are here, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. Really appreciate it. Helps us grow this channel, grow this platform, connect with other fellow fans just like yourself, whether you're Texas fans, college football fans, really appreciate it. As well as thank you to our sponsor, busr.com/fanatic, the official sponsor, the official sportsbook, the official betting partner of Fanatic Perspective. On my site there at busr.com/fanatic, you'll see that promo code sports100FP. Take advantage, 100% free play match on all initial deposits within the first 24 hours. So first 24 hours, hit up my site, you sign up with BUSR. Amazing customer service, by the way, best in the business. You want to put down your Heisman bet. You want to put down your conference championship bet. You want to put down who's going to make the playoffs, what have you on BUSR. On your initial deposit, take advantage of that promo code, get 100% free play match on that deposit. Thank you to BUSR. So whether, 3 practices in now across the board, we understand the Hudson Card versus Quinn Ewers thing is very real in terms of the quarterback competition. I know a lot of people feel some type of way about that. That's not what this video is really going to tap into at all right now. As we get into more padded practices, we have an opportunity to see some scrimmages and things of that sort. And when I say we, I'm talking about the coaching staff because we know we don't get access. But as they get to make their determination on who's best to lead Texas moving forward, that's a whole nother thing we'll cover as we get closer to the season. But what I've really been excited about, and this is a video I've been planning to make for some time after all the comments about Malik, and you guys are sleeping on Malik, you're forgetting about Malik. My buddy John, who is the host of the Locked On Longhorns podcast, he did an excellent video about Malik with John Garcia, and John Garcia was able to profile, especially Malik's senior year of high school at Sarah over in California. And they did a very great profile on who Malik is and what he's bringing to Texas. Consider that kind of part two, where we kind of look forward and project what that looks like, because this is now become a thing where I really like what I'm hearing behind the scenes about Malik. And it's exciting. It's exciting from the standpoint of Steve Sarkisian as a quarterback developer and guru. It's exciting for the young man and Malik Murphy himself, understanding coming into Texas with an injury from high school and being in a walking boot and really not being able to do everything in spring practice and still participating and getting better and getting those mental reps. We did, for those of us who attended the spring game, we did get to see him do a little bit of pass skeleton, a little bit of 7-on-7, not a whole lot. But with Malik having just these setbacks with injuries and also being a true freshman, all of these things, he's now here and he's there day one of practice. He's now worked his way up to I think, definitively being your QB3 on this roster behind Hudson and Quinn. And from everything you read, from the football guys of the Texas paid sites, whether it's the Bobby Burtons, the Jason Sukumelos, or the Jeff House, across the Orange Bloods inside Texas 247 landscape, Malik Murphy has been impressive. This has been consistent from all of the feedback we've gotten in practice, right? And one of the things that I was so excited to hear that I saw Bobby write about was the improvement of his release and already seeing the tightening up of the mechanics. One of the things that Malik has that is God given is size, right? And natural arm talent and ability, not just power and strength, but also the ability to change up, the velocity on some of the throws, making sure that you have a catchable ball underneath, catchable balls where you're throwing to your backs and changing it up velocity wise when you're trying to fit it through a window, throwing to your receivers or your tight ends, right? And also being able to push the ball vertically. That is a key element here in Steve Sarkisian's offense. We know we have RPO as an element. We know we have deep play action shots as an element. We want to be able to take advantage of the entire football field. Malik Murphy has the physical profile, and there was a tremendous interview that he did with Panini where he was asked to comp himself. He comped himself to Josh Allen and Justin Herbert. And I know it sounds crazy because those are two of the most gifted young big passers in the NFL. But when you really think about what he should be striving towards and what that looks like, it's not really far-fetched or insane considering where they came from as those 6'5" above, 225, 230 above type guys as when they were his age. If you really think about it, right? Josh Allen ended up at Wyoming. The NFL was the ones that took a look and said, hey, that raw talent could be something in the NFL. Justin Herbert wasn't the biggest recruit coming into Oregon, and that's somebody who really blossomed within the program, right? And so Malik Murphy probably had a little bit more hype as a prospect than those guys did as being a 5-star at one point. Now we know what happened during COVID. Really the California spring season, which would have been Malik's junior year, really getting canceled, or they do the 6 games, which I more consider a spring showcase than anything else. And there was a lot of, reluctance, people jumping off the ship. And I give credit to Malik in a lot of regards here. Number one, he stayed solid in his commitment. Number two, expectations were set from the coaching staff that this would be a 2-quarterback class that he was a part of in 2022. Stayed solid to that, said, I don't mind it. I'm willing to compete. Malik's been recruited by Steve Sarkisian, A.J. Millie for a very long time, which means that he's always been aware of Arch Manning and their recruitment of him. And he understands, I'm going to go there and compete regardless. Now, we'll get to Arch as we go through with this path that I'm taking us down in terms of recruitment. But I want to make it very, very clear, Malik Murphy, his foundation of, I want to be trained by A.J. Millie, Steve Sarkisian. I want to be at a school like University of Texas. I like, it matches my vibe. I want to help recruit for the University of Texas. I want to help, lead and develop that program. I want to be in that quarterback room, that training element that Steve has there that is very, very special, very gifted. Malik already understood that. Now, where I give him additional credit is when he struggled because he hadn't really been a full-time starter at his high school, and the spring showcase, we know what type of talent he was playing with. It was a challenge. Senior year, he goes in, improves, finishes with 28 touchdowns in the regular season, 12 touchdowns and I think 1,200 yards passing in their playoff run, and they win the state championship where he gets injured, but they win the state championship. It was glow-up season for Malik last year. With that same challenged roster, he was that guy. And so coming here to Texas, I'm not surprised to hear the improvements in the throwing motion because I heard the improvements and I saw the improvements from junior year to senior year. That should be a part of what we get excited about in terms of this prospect. Steve Sarkisian, his first press conference after the first practice, he was asked about Malik Murphy and the smile on his face. Those are the type of kids that coaches, especially quarterback gurus and developers, love to coach. Those guys that have all of the talent in the world. Malik Murphy has so much more talent than Steve Sarkisian himself ever had as a quarterback at BYU, and some of the gifts he has. And we know the gifts that are in that room right now between Hudson Card and Quinn Ewers. We know what's coming in with Arch Manning. But when you have a guy like that who he can really craft and mold and develop and have some time with, we saw what Steve did just with a couple years with Mac Jones, right? And the different types of quarterbacks that Steve has had. Steve has had big arm guys like Carson Palmer before that he's worked with, or Jake Locker, who was extremely raw at Washington. And by the time he's ready to go to the NFL, he's a top 10 pick. So I've seen just the different nuances of quarterbacks within itself that Steve has had success with. And so that excites me for Malik. Now, the other part of this is, will Malik play at Texas? What's his path to get onto the field? I know a lot of people have said, hey, are they just going to go straight from, assuming Quinn Ewers wins this job, does it go straight from Quinn Ewers to Arch Manning? Does Malik get left out of that? What's his path to the field? I said on John's podcast, Locked On Longhorns, that Malik's chance to play at Texas, the cards are against him, just with the people that he's competing with, and it's timing and big part of that, right? And, to be in fairness to the others, if with Malik's talent level, there's other schools Malik could have gone to and played right away, but he also wouldn't have gotten the teaching and the tutelage of a guy like Steve Sarkisian. So it's a balance. And when you go and play for some of the top tier quarterback minds, their quarterback rooms are normally pretty full. Whether it's the Ryan Days of the world or Steve and some of the others that we've seen over the years. Pick your example. I will say this, though. College football is a messy sport, and in a lot of different ways. And things rarely, if ever, go accordingly to plan, especially when we're talking about multi-year plans. Yes, the plan, I think, from a recruiting and, if everything lays out perfectly, if we're just talking Texas holistically, you would like to think that Quinn Ewers maximizes his talent and is the next Matthew Stafford, Patrick Mahomes type, and can lead Texas back to prominence and be a top pick, after next season. And we successfully transition to Arch Manning, who is also ready to play after a redshirt year and is going to be is another Peyton Manning type. Like that would be the ideal situation or plan, if you will. But how often does a plan go like that in college football? At any school. I'm not just talking Texas right now. At any school, any situation. Okay. Like I remember Georgia had Jacob Eason out of the state of Washington, who was, top tier of his class, another big arm guy, huge kid at Georgia, started, mid to late freshman year, was very promising, then gets hurt his second year. And Jacob Fromm, who was kind of around the same level as Malik, 4-star, Elite 11 guy. Malik Murphy actually finishing second in Elite 11. Jake Fromm being an Elite 11 guy himself, was on the QB1 show. So it's not like Jake Fromm was trash or anything like that in terms of a high school prospect going into college. But I felt like at Georgia, they thought they were going to go from Jacob Eason balling to then Justin Fields, who was the headliner of that now famous 2018 recruiting class that led to their national championship. Think about that. Justin Fields was actually the top-ranked player in that 2018 Georgia class with all those guys like Jordan Davis and you name them, a part of that Georgia defense. Didn't go according to plan. Jacob Eason gets hurt. Jacob Fromm steps in. They go in the national championship game with Jacob Fromm as a freshman. He holds on to the job the following year when Justin Fields comes in, despite them trying to work him in. Justin Fields goes to Ohio State. Rest is history. Doesn't go according to plan. Stetson Bennett wasn't part of the plan of them winning the national championship. Wasn't. JT Daniels was there, 5-star, transfers in from USC, gets hurt, doesn't get his job back. So if I'm Malik Murphy, or if I'm talking to Malik Murphy, and I hear these promising things and how impressive he's already been at practice so far, my message is simply stay the course. My message is remain in that quarterback room, continue to get better, continue to refine your skills, and see how things play out. I don't think it's, a lot of us, there's no secret here on this channel. I would like to see Quinn Ewers be named the starting quarterback for this season and let him grow and develop and become the player that I think he's capable of being. I've seen enough to where I feel like he would be the best fit for what this team needs. But I am very happy to hear and see that Hudson Card is developing and improving. That speaks to Steve Sarkisian and his tutelage and also the fairness of meritocracy, right? If he's the best person for this offense and what this team needs, and he can prove it on the field under the bright lights and not be reluctant to pull the trigger and push the ball downfield and be aggressive, like we saw in the Isaiah Nayer clip that got posted, which is why I want more access so we can see stuff like that. That makes me feel a little bit better about Hudson Card if he's going to throw the ball like that. But with that being said, the point is, and a lot of this goes for Hudson Card too, things don't always go according to plan in college football. Things can be very, very messy. Some of the best college football quarterbacks, some of the biggest college football heroes, there was never a plan for them to be on the field. And in the case of Malik Murphy, we're talking about somebody who's 6'5", 227, is listed right now as a freshman with a bazooka for an arm that has the physical profile of some of these big quarterbacks. And he's not this runner or Lamar Jackson or Vince Young type. Just because you see a brother out there with dreads don't mean you got to make the assumption that he's that type of quarterback. No, he's a big pocket passing, cerebral, has a diversity of pitches and can just be deadly with his arm, and somebody that's rapidly improving back there. Is he athletic? Can he move around and make off-platform throws and throw from different arm slots? Hell yeah, absolutely. He needs a lot of training and refinement. It's going to be a longer process for him, but I think he has the potential to be a first-round NFL quarterback prospect based upon what we've seen recently and the trend of where the NFL is going. I think he has that potential. But again, how does he get on the field at Texas, Steve? Hear me out. Injuries happen all the time in college football. That breaks plans. Guys not playing up to their potential. That breaks plans. If you're Malik Murphy, you stay the course and you are ready to play when called upon. And that includes garbage time. We're blowing some people out. We have 4 games this year where he could have an opportunity to play and still have an opportunity to earn his red shirt. Ball out. Ball out. Next year, Arch comes. Let's say we assume the plan for Arch is to red shirt. Whoever doesn't win this job, it transfers or whatever, and Malik is, say, QB2 next season. These are just hypotheticals, but let's play it out the path on the field. Every time you get an opportunity, you're one play away if you're the backup quarterback. On top of that, you get in again. You ball out. You start to build up a cult following, right? You start to build up. Every time he's out there, he's dropping dimes. Same thing that happened with Tua his first year when he was playing behind Jalen Hurts. Every single time Tua got in the game, he was throwing touchdowns. Even though Jalen Hurts was leading, steady Eddie. So they felt comfortable when they had to make that switch at the most key moment, the most balling decision Nick Saban's ever made against Georgia, and they can go with that and roll. And we saw, all those guys, Mac Jones, Tua, Jalen Hurts, all of them in the league. All of them are starting quarterbacks in NFL training camps right now. It's only 32 jobs, and they got 3 of them between those 3. That was all in one quarterback room. So don't sit up here and tell me that Malik Murphy can't go in there and turn some heads if given the opportunity. The path is not laid out neatly like it is for Quinn or like it is for Arch. It is not. But that's okay. It's college football. Something's going to happen. And I'm not wishing for anything, malicious or anything like that to happen, but we know how this sport works. We've seen it too many times. If things went according to plan, Colt McCoy would have never played at Texas. Think about it. Considering the recruit that he was and how he was recruited, Colt McCoy would have never played at Texas if things went according to plan. I mean, y'all forget Ryan Perrilloux, who ended up flipping to LSU, was Texas's target. And then they go and flip Jevin Sneed from Florida. And Jevin Sneed is that big-time recruit at the time. Colt McCoy stays the course. He's ready to play when called upon. learns in a quarterback room from Vince Young. And that's what I'm talking about in terms of learning and the teaching aspect, being in that quarterback room and that tutelage. We also right now, are in this period of the transfer portal, right? And so if I'm Malik Murphy, it's also valuable just to be in this room. Even if Malik never gets really the full opportunity to earn the job like we may feel he should, or he does get beat out, that could also be a possibility. He gets beat out and by Arch or never plays over Quinn, what have you. Being trained by Steve Sarkisian, if he still does what he does in his opportunities that he will get on the field when he gets them, with his size, his arm talent, he will be the number one premier person in that damn portal. I mean, look at Casey Thompson. Just after one season with working with Steve Sarkisian, as of right now, this recording, Casey Thompson is expected to be named a starter at Nebraska, and that's with them getting 2 or 3 guys from across, Power 5 programs in the quarterback room. And Casey Thompson's going to win that job, and get opportunities to be as good as he wants to be, and have all the success in the world in the Big Ten. So if you're just a fan of Malik Murphy, he gonna ball somewhere. I truly believe that. If he continues the path that he's on, with how he speaks, with the belief that he gets from his teammates, the intangibles that are there, and we're seeing the technical improvement so early on and the ability to ramp, the sky, it's truly the limit potential-wise for Malik Murphy. So no, we are not sleeping on him at Fanatic Perspective. And a lot of the people in the Texas community are not sleeping on him. That's why he's starting to get called out in these practice reports. That's why the head coach smiles when his name is mentioned. That is an exciting young man that they are thrilled to develop. And let's see where it goes, because things do not go according to plan in college football. The people that are winning are the people that adjust regardless. The people that are winning are the people that can make it happen. Stetson Bennett was not part of the plan. They still won. Back in the day with Texas, when things didn't go according to plan, we still won. We were still prepared, still had depth, so everything ready to go. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about Malik Murphy, and don't just assume that he's just going to get pushed to the side and that's the last you hear of him and he's another, could have been prospect or anything like that. I do think, whether it's here at Texas or potentially another school, just because of the way the cards fall, there's nothing wrong with Joe Burrow leaving Ohio State and going and doing what he did at LSU. It happens all the time. So please keep that in consideration. Let me know in the comments how you feel about it. I know many of you have asked my comments and my thoughts about Malik Murphy in particular. I felt like right now is the perfect time to do it with just us, having a few days before we really, really get into the nitty-gritty before the season starts. Shout out to BUSR, official sponsor, official sportsbook, official betting partner of Fanatic Perspective. Hit up busr.com/fanatic. We appreciate them very, very much. Sports 100 FP promo code. Take advantage today. They're getting amazing customer service. Get your preseason bets in there. Also NFL MVPs, all that good stuff there. So appreciate y'all. Let me know how you feel in the comments. Make sure you sub up. Horns always up. Peace.